The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some independent Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to healthy living and weight loss will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. In addition, this audio may contain income or earnings representations of some independent Optavia coaches. Optavia makes no guarantee of financial success. Success with Optavia results from successful sales efforts, which requires hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. Please see the Optavia income disclosure statement for statistics on actual earnings of coaches under the U.S. compensation plan, which differs from the international compensation plan. Yours in health, the Optavia team.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. My name is David Bush, and today I get a chance to be your host and moderator for the Trilogy presentation, which the Trilogy is what we call Healthy Body, Healthy Mind, and Healthy Finances. And Optavia is a tremendous vehicle to help you to create that. You see it right in our logo. The logo stands for creating more optimal days. The different lines going around in a circle are the 24 different radiants of the day. And what we wanted to create was more optimal well-being in the lives of Americans and the entire world. We want to get America healthy and then the world. And we're doing some amazing things that you're going to get a chance to hear tonight. And we're empowering individuals to transform their lives. And I speak from personal experience. 10 years ago, I accepted the invitation to learn more about Optavia. I was 100 pounds overweight, and I struggled my entire adult life and even in my childhood with being a heavy kid. And although I was an athlete, I got away with it for a lot of years, but I never found victory. I never found opportunities to sustain long-term, lifelong transformation. And what Optavia was given to me was this idea that I could actually learn how to create health and well-being in my life. And 10 years ago, I ended up losing 100 pounds, and then I ended up going on to helping many other people to get healthier. And so tonight I get a chance to share with you what I've personally experienced, and I get a chance to share with you some amazing, inspiring, motivational testimonials of people that are just like you. Maybe they're not exactly like you, but what we find is that most of us are more alike than we are different. We maybe share different struggles and challenges in life, but what we find is that this amazing community of people bring together people that have challenges in life, that have learned how to overcome those barriers to create a healthier life. And tonight you're going to get a chance to hear about that. Our story that starts with our company, our parent company is a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. It was actually ranked as one of the most trustworthy companies in America in Forbes magazine 2016 and in 2017. Our co-founder, Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson, as you see pictured here, is the 10th physician board certified in critical care. He was a valedictorian of his medical class, and he actually decided to leave traditional medicine and move into the preventative health era almost 20 years ago. He spent 2 decades in the Grandview Hospital and many other locations, really helping people to save their life. He was an anesthesiologist. He's the department chair of the Grandview Hospital in Dayton, Ohio. And for many years, he spent his life dedicated to saving lives. But what he found was that he wasn't really able to help people to thrive. And he knew that he was only one person. And even though he was one of the best at what he did, he wasn't able to help as many people that were needing his help. And it wasn't just the people that were dying. It was actually the people that were just surviving and just existing. They weren't necessarily sick, but they weren't healthy. And they weren't living vibrant lives. And so he partnered with our parent company and created this vehicle that we have today called Optavia. Optavia is the name of the company, which stands for the optimal way of living. And so what Optavia does is that it teaches people how to adopt healthy habits in many different facets of their life so that they can create lifelong transformation. We are an organization and a community of like-minded people who come from different walks of life, but who are all on this journey to climb the mountain of optimal health. And when we look at all the friends and family members that surround us, we find that there's a huge health epidemic. If you look at some of the statistics put out by the Centers of Disease Control, In 2015 and 2016, the prevalence of obesity was 39.8% in adults and 18.5% in youth. Now, if you're not used to statistics, that may not mean much to you, but this is the first time in American history that it's been that high. We're setting a record with the number of people that are now falling into the obese state. And obesity is the mother and father of all disease, according to Dr. Wayne Anderson. And when you look at some of the statistics as it relates to financial cost, it's $147 billion, and that was in 2008, of the annual medical cost of obesity. It's breaking the bank. It's breaking the healthcare system. And that's why Dr. Anderson saw this amazing opportunity, not only for the opportunity to help people, but the opportunity to help himself to get out of the rat race of the healthcare system and to actually enter into this idea that he can empower people and help people to create health in their life. And then he could end up teaching them to do the same thing. And they could create more well-being in their lives using the vehicle of Optavia and the business model that was created to be a system that works because the business works. So he created this business model. And the four components of our business system is what helps to help a person to get healthier. Our health coaches use this system to empower individuals to create health and well-being in their lives. The job of a health coach is not to create health in somebody else's life. It's to awaken them to the tools and resources. The individual coach, the role of their coach, is basically to provide caring and knowledgeable support in a one-on-one relationship and to guide them through Dr. Wayne Anderson's Habits of Health system, which is a physician-led program that ends up giving the information to people at a very acceptable pace. Individuals can download the phone app on their phone. They can use the website and the interactive information and videos that are there. They can also be using the Lifebook to create their own news story. The Lifebook is like a journal that individuals will use to create their new life and to really learn how to consume those habits of health. And then the Habits of Health reference book is Dr. A's, what he considers to be the all-encompassing knowledge resource that is kind of like almost like an owner's manual that people can use to basically guide themselves to making healthier choices and getting the science-based research to understand how to go about living a healthier lifestyle. We also have a great community of individuals that are surrounding our clients and coaches. We're providing our clients and coaches with the support network that oftentimes they don't have at home. We're giving them systems to basically plug into at the speed of life. They can use their phone to plug into our support communities online. They can attend webinars. They can contact our nutrition support team. They have access and power to transform their lives at the speed of life. It's an amazing opportunity for all of our individual clients and coaches to plug into this amazing network. And they don't have to be in a position where they have to go show up to a doctor's office and sit in a waiting room or go to a group meeting that they don't necessarily want to be at and have, group weigh-ins. Nobody is going to put you on a scale and force you to lose weight. This program is about helping you to create health and well-being in your life. And coaches get the amazing opportunity to transfer that amazing power to an individual and awaken them to how they can create the life that they've always desired. The fourth component of our program is our fuelings. This is our revenue driver, and it's our way to be able to help the world to get healthy without having them to pay out-of-pocket deductibles or expensive coaching fees or personal training fees. We're basically providing them with an opportunity to eat 6 fuelings a day so that they're satisfied and they're getting the nutrition that they need, but they're also in a position where they're making sure that they're learning about nutrition at a pace that's comfortable for them. We're teaching our clients to drink more water, to become more hydrated, to eat nutrition-dense, carbohydrate-controlled meals and snacks, and to eat a good balance of protein and carbohydrates. And we do that using a combination of scientifically designed fuelings that we ship directly to our clients. What this system does is it provides the right nutrition on every stage of an individual's journey, whether they're morbidly obese or whether they're a peak performance athlete. We have a meal plan that can be customized to meet the needs of anyone who wants to become healthier. And what we also offer is the trilogy of optimal health. It's not just the idea of getting to a healthy weight or becoming more fit. We're actually educating and awakening individuals to create a healthier mind, to create a healthier thought pattern, to become more optimistic, to have more hope in their life. And by giving them an opportunity to earn additional finances to be able to pay for things that many people don't have the extra income to pay for, I started out because I wanted to help other people to get healthier, but I never thought that I would end up making a career out of it. But what happens is it becomes very infectious. It actually becomes contagious, and you decide that you want to help people, and then you want to pay it forward. And I want to interview this wonderful lady that I've become great friends with. Dr. Dee Garcia is an oncologist. She's also an independent certified Optavia coach, and she has got an amazing story as it relates to how she became connected to Optavia and what she's done since then. Dr. Garcia, welcome to the webinar.
Oh, thanks, David. I feel so honored to be part of this webinar tonight and to share my story, to be able to inspire other people. So I'm from St. Louis. I have practiced medicine here for almost 30 years. My background is oncology, and specifically, I am a breast cancer physician. And so what I found when I was first practicing medicine, I started practicing in the mid-1980s, is that the women who were coming to see me with breast cancer were in their 50s and older. And so that seemed pretty normal. But then as time went on, I started to see younger and younger women coming in to see me with a diagnosis of breast cancer. So they were in their 40s, and then they were in their 30s. And then I started to see a whole slew of women that were in their 20s. And there was something very wrong about that, seeing these very young women coming in with their toddlers and their babies and their school-aged children to talk about breast cancer treatment options. And as you showed, David, 2/3 of Americans are overweight, half of them are obese. And so that was really what I saw in my own patients. And so I started to counsel them about, healthier eating and lifestyle changes. But I really was looking for a tool to help my patients be more successful, because when you have to fix every meal and when you have to spend your life in the grocery store reading food labels and figuring out grams of this and grams of that, women just did not have the time. They were busy working, receiving their cancer treatment and raising their children. And so the tool that I was introduced to 12 years ago was our Optavia program. The other thing is that was really important to me is that this was a program physician-led, and it had scientific research behind it. Because at the end of the day, I didn't want my reputation compromised. These were not just my patients, but where they were the patients of my colleagues. And so I didn't want to be criticized that I was offering them something that was not physician-led, that didn't have science behind it. So I had wonderful, or my patients had wonderful results using this program. But I had no idea what health coaching was going to do for my own life. So about 10 years ago, one of the major hospital systems in St. Louis came knocking at our door. I was a co-founder of my own cancer center with 4 other women physicians. 2 were breast surgeons, 2 were medical oncologists, and then I was the radiation oncologist. And we grew to 10 physicians in our practice. And then one of the hospital systems came knocking. They wanted to buy our practice. I voted against the sale, but my partners voted to sell. And so overnight, we went from this holistic, beautiful practice that we had, created to a corporate practice, and that had a completely different flavor. So I stayed 2 years, but then I started to dream about reinventing myself. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to step to the other side of the fence, and I am going to work on the wellness side instead of on the sickness side. And so I I gave a 90-day notice for my retirement. I was in my mid-50s at the time. I still had about 10 more years to practice. And so I called it jumping off the cliff. I jumped off the cliff. I announced my retirement, but I was terrified because I was not earning, I was earning this much with Optavia. And I had two children in high school that were attending private schools. I was the breadwinner for our family. I was a single mom at the time. I had a son in college. So we had a lot of tuition payments, and we had a lot of other things that needed to be paid, the mortgage and so on and so forth. And I was the sole provider for my family. And so I was terrified. But on the other hand, I knew what I wanted, and I knew the work ethic. I knew my work ethic, and I knew that if I set my mind to it, I would make it happen, because that's what I do. And so I rolled up my sleeves. I went to work. I expanded my client base. I started sharing the business model with some of my friends that were health professionals and were looking for things to help their patients. And I also talked to some of my successful clients about health coaching. And so I grew my business fairly quickly. But the wonderful thing is that I had no idea the life that I was going to create beyond stepping over to the other side of the fence, the wellness side. So I work from home, and I can do my business from anywhere. I love to ski, and I usually go skiing a week at a time in the winter time. And so I can take my notebook of clients, I can make my phone calls, my coaching calls during, one day, and then the rest of the time I'm on the slopes. I can take extended vacations. Before, I could only go on vacation for 1 week at a time because, busy health professionals can't take more than a week. And most of that time I would spend worrying about the work that I left behind. So I've been able to travel, spend more time with my children, but also my mother passed away almost 2 years ago, and she was incredibly healthy most of her life. But in the last 2 years, she developed some dementia, and I was able to have my mom at my house, taking care of her, serving her coffee and breakfast and lunch, and going to movies and taking her to restaurants, because I work from home. And so my mother never spent one single day in a nursing home. And so those are the gifts that we can do as health coaches. And now I'm building a legacy. One of the things that's dear to my heart is the medical school that I graduated from in Illinois. And so I want to leave a legacy of a big pot of money for scholarships for underprivileged students who struggle, to go to secondary schools and professional schools, because with the income that I have from Optavia, I feel that I won't ever have to tap into my retirement monies, and I can give more money away. So I love my new life. I've never had more joy, more passion and purpose. I now have a gazillion friends with my Optavia family. And David, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So thank you so much for allowing me to share.
Wow, that's just amazing, Dr. Garcia. And I know that, I've been doing this for over a decade. And when I heard stories like yours from the very beginning, I just felt that there was so much credibility with the program and also with the opportunity. I wasn't becoming a salesperson for Optavia. I was becoming a coach. And I became the same thing that Dr. Garcia was. Dr. Garcia has a lot more. She's forgotten more about health and medicine than I'll ever know. And we're doing the same thing. And so sometimes, people decide to become a coach because they're just trying to reinforce their decision to be healthy. They're not a physician, like I'm not a physician, but some people just want to get more education. They want to learn more. They want to pay it forward. They want to be a part of something that's fun and rewarding. Maybe their current career isn't what they want it to be. Or some people could use some extra compensation. They could use some extra income to pay for things that they'd like to do. And you may not have the opportunities in your current circumstances to become full-time, but if you choose to, it's available for everybody, and you can choose to leave a legacy, and it's all up to you. It's up to you to decide whether or not you would like to help more people to get healthier, and that's exactly what you'll do, is leave a legacy. Next up, we're going to talk to my friend Kelly. Kelly is an independent Optavia coach, and she's a newer coach. She's not a health professional, but she is very passionate about inspiring others with her story. Kelly, welcome to the webinar.
Thank you, David. I just am so grateful, and thank you. I feel humbled and honored to be asked to be a part of this call tonight to share my story. My story began on May 1st, 2018, and it took me a couple months before I was really able to look at myself in the mirror. And what I saw, I didn't like the new me. Part of my treatment was that I would be put on a medication for the next 10 years. And one of the common side effects of that medication would be weight gain. And I was warned that it would be pretty difficult to lose the weight that I gained. So not only was I living in fear of reoccurrence, but I was also living in fear of the side effects of this medication. A year after my diagnosis, I found myself 30 pounds overweight and feeling extremely hopeless and discouraged and very fearful of my path continuing in this direction of weight gain. This past May, I ran into my coach and dear friend Lori, and I remember thinking to myself, wow, she looks great and she looks so happy. And so I asked her, what are you doing? And she introduced me to the program at that time. And she also shared with me some information about the program. And so hearing about the program from my coach and from other health professionals, it just gave me so much hope. After the struggles and the pain of the past year, I was super excited to start creating a healthier life for myself, and that there was the tools and the support that was available there for me to do it. So it was one of the best decisions of my life. And what I love about the program is the simplicity and the structure, and that it's safe. Like I said, I'm so grateful to my coach Lori for sharing this gift with me. I have never felt better. in my life probably than I do now. I'm sleeping better. I have more energy. I have more joy and confidence in myself. My husband and I are celebrating 31 years of marriage next week, and I'm super excited. I'm wearing my wedding ring again after many years, actually. I've lost 28 pounds, but I have gained so much more. I have regained my hope, and I've regained my health, and I'm no longer living in fear. I have learned to accept, and I'm starting to love the new me. Hope was a word that I clung to during my journey, and I decided to become a health coach because I wanted to offer hope to other people that may be struggling and may be fearful and discouraged like I was. And I wanted to help people to maybe overcome barriers that were preventing them from reaching their own health goals. And if I could help other people every day have more hope, it gave my life greater meaning and purpose. And I have joy watching and helping and encouraging people that I love in their health journeys in ways that are promoting their health and their lives. And in the beginning, I did not think that I would maybe have time to do coaching. I'm a busy mom and I'm a grandma. I work full time, but what I found was it didn't take that much time, and the time that it did take was very fulfilling and rewarding, and it also encouraged me in my journey, and talking to other people about their health journeys just helped me walk in my own. And then another thing is the training and the support from the mentorship team of coaches has been great. You always feel a lot of support, and you feel prepared to maybe help the barriers that you might come across in encouraging and helping other people. And I would just say, if you are feeling like you don't have the time, or you have don't know enough, or have too much on your plate, that just continue to explore the possibility of becoming a health coach, and trust the process, and that it may help you live a better life by helping others to do the same. Thank you so much for letting me share my story.
You bet, Kelly. You are an amazing inspiration to all of us, and I know that it was kind of nerve-wracking, just the idea of getting up the ambition to want to share your story, but your story is giving hope, and it's giving health to others, and we're so appreciative of you doing that. And there's lots of opportunities with Optavia. You can come in and you can become an Optavia coach and just coach a few friends or family members to get healthier, and just pay it forward to those that you love and like. You can also get to the point where you actually can be a coach of other coaches. You can actually become a business coach, and you can train and equip teams of other coaches, and you can actually become a business leader and really make a huge impact and leave a really big legacy because of our team coaching model. You can transfer the skills to more people. And the cool part about this business is it's not what oftentimes people think it is. It's actually not a sales opportunity. It's a relational model of coaching. You're completely independent and self-employed. You don't have to meet certain hours, or you can do it when you want to do it. A lot of people do it in their spare time, and then they kind of move to part-time if it's something that they enjoy doing. And then some people choose to do it as their full-time career. It's $199 to become a coach, and there's no inventory. You don't buy wholesale and sell retail. You simply plug people into the business. The people that you work with pay the company, and the company pays you for the services that you provide. It's a flexible business, as Dr. D. Garcia mentioned, is that she could do this from anywhere. As long as you have an internet connection and a phone or a laptop or a tablet, you can be in business for yourself, but not in business by yourself. There's no monthly purchase requirements, or there's no quotas you have to meet, and all the training is provided, as Kelly had mentioned. Our last speaker is a great one, and I can't wait for you to hear another inspiring testimonial of someone who's been changing lives and changing hers in the process. Kara, welcome to the webinar.
Hey, thanks so much, David. I am so honored to be here with you and Dr. D and Kelly. It's been a great lineup, and I just appreciate those stories so much. I want to talk about coaching and the change that it's brought in my life. I luckily ran into a nurse in a grocery store one day, and she came and spoke with me and some of my friends about health and wellness, and I went on program. Well, actually, it was 8 years ago that I met her, and then the following January I went on program. I was able to lose almost 90 pounds, and at the end of that process, I felt so much better. So I want to talk, though, mostly quickly about the reason I started health coaching. I knew from the very beginning that I wanted to be a health coach if this program worked, and so I did this program 100% because I wanted to be honest when I told people that this program worked if they did it 100%. And so I did. And after about 3 months, I had people asking me, "Are you sick again? You know, what's wrong? You're losing so much weight." And I said, "No, I'm getting healthy. It's the greatest thing ever." And so I couldn't keep my mouth shut about it. I've seen some of the things that everyone's been saying tonight. It's hard to keep your mouth shut about something that is changing your life. So I decided to become a health coach. I know myself, and I knew that if I wasn't completely consumed with this, that I was going to go back to the way I was before. And so I wanted to make sure that I was doing what it took to have a healthy life. So that was the first reason that I got into coaching. Now, this became very quickly a way to help my family. At the time, I was in my mid-40s. I had 4 boys, and they were all over the place. They were in high school, in college. Our boys go on, a couple of my boys went on service missions for our church, and all of these things cost money. And I knew what was coming: weddings and grandkids and all kinds of things. And so I decided that I wanted to coach to make a little bit of extra money. And I just want to tell you guys that I was able to pay for 3 weddings in 1 year with cash from my business. And it just made me so happy that I was able to do that and help my kids that way. Another thing I want to just have you guys do for just 1 second, and Kat kind of talked a little bit about this in our Habits of Health webinar, but I want you to think a little bit and dream a little bit. What would it be like? What would your perfect life be like? Dr. Anderson always encourages us to walk into the future and look at what that future is going to bring, and look at what that future can be, and then come back and do the work to get there. And I love that. And so I have dreamed a lot. I have a vision board. I have a bucket list. And part of those things are being able to do things with your family and make memories. One of the things I wanted to do was attend a women's retreat in Tuscany, Italy. And I will tell you that in April and May of this year, well, actually it was May and June, I spent 10 days in Tuscany with a bunch of women that were just amazing. And then my husband came over and we spent 2 more weeks touring Italy. So I was in Italy for almost a month this year, and it was the most amazing experience I've ever had. And then the other thing that has been really huge with health coaching, you guys, is one of the very biggest things that I have wanted to do is to have a vacation home where I can invite people in that they can make memories with their own families. And we just 2 years ago, my business bought the lake house in Bear Lake, Idaho. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world. And I have been able to gift that to so many people a weekend at the lake house, and they've been able to make the most amazing memories with their families. I run health retreats there, and I go there to work because I love it so much. So what I'm trying to tell you is that this job brings so much joy. You cannot even imagine. The last thing I'll say is, speaking of joy, we were able to just pay off part of a large chunk of my oldest son's student loans this month. And he called me and said, "Mom, you have no idea what that does for us now. That gives us so much hope." And Kelly, speaking of hope, it's not just hope for us, but it's hope for others that we are helping. And so I love this job so much, you guys. And thank you so much, David, for letting me share. This has helped me go from being fearful and being just in total sadness with my diagnosis to wanting to get up every single day to serve other people. And it's a wonderful outlet for that. So thank you so much, David.
You're welcome. Thank you, Kara. And those are the kinds of stories that we get a chance as coaches to hear all the time, is people transforming their lives. And if you're thinking that this is something that you'd like to consider further, please reach back to the person that invited you to watch. And if you're watching this as a recording, please reach out to the person that sent this recording to you and let them know that you're interested in exploring it further, because all the training is available. You can learn while you earn. You don't have to go back to school. You have a business coach and a mentorship team to guide you. There's nothing to be fearful about. And for any reason that you want to take it at a very slow pace, you can do it. It's completely at your own pace, and we have all kinds of great training resources available to you, whether we do live events or virtual events. So we hope that you were inspired tonight. We hope that you gained some hope about the future and some opportunities to improve your own personal health. And we want you to know that there's help available. If you'd like to take advantage of it, reach back out to the person that invited you to this and let them know you'd like to explore coaching further. Have a great night, everybody.
This audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some independent Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. In addition, this audio may have contained income or earnings representations of some independent Optavia coaches. Optavia makes no guarantee of financial success. Success with Optavia results from successful sales efforts, which requires hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. Please see the Optavia income disclosure statement for statistics on actual earnings of coaches under the U.S. compensation plan, which differs from the international compensation plan. Yours in health, the Optavia team.